Bravo 236 Gulf Scope, be advised we have a group of approximately 3. It appears that one of the individuals has a large pack on their back. They're headed towards the reservoir at this time.
The United States of America is under siege. The enemy has massed troops along our borders and has recruited agents that infiltrate every aspect of our country, our society, our way of life. The enemy is illegal drugs. Does this sound far-fetched? Consider that 1 out of 8 students in the 8th grade is a current drug user. Or 1 in 4 seniors in high school is a current drug user. 1 in 3 high school seniors has witnessed a drug deal in their school, and almost half the high school seniors have attended a party where illegal drugs were openly used. In fact, more than 1 out of 3 Americans 12 years and older have used illegal drugs in their lifetime. Most jails now perform routine drug screening during arrest processing. 2/3 of those arrested pop positive on these tests. More than half the cocaine on American streets enters the U.S. across our border with Mexico, along with staggering quantities of marijuana. A majority of these shipments go to traffickers in Los Angeles, who then distribute it nationwide. It used to be child's play to smuggle truckloads of drugs from Tijuana straight across the border to San Diego. That is, until Joint Task Force 6 and Team Engineer installed a fence and road system that sealed 17 miles of border from the Pacific Ocean to Tin Can Hill. The fence and road system left the smugglers 3 options: risk detection and capture transporting the drugs through the land ports of entry, where counter-drug guardsmen assist customs officers to search many more vehicles, or waste precious minutes traversing the fence, where the newly installed road network greatly decreases Border Patrol's response time, or attempt to flank the fence and the undrivable hills by transporting the drug shipments east, then across the border and back to San Diego. When the detouring smugglers first crossed the border near Tecate, they noticed Team Engineer was already installing the next segment of border fence and roads. So far, Team Engineer has extended this barrier and road network to the western edge of the Imperial Valley and is extending another fence outward, both east and west, from the Imperial Valley border town of Calexico. If a smuggler wants to drive a load of drugs across an unfenced segment of border, he still has to run a 10-minute gauntlet of open desert before he reaches a paved road. That's why this engineer operation is so important. Several drug cartels have established operations in northern Mexico in the vicinity of the international border with California. Small operational smuggling bases are strategically located along the 147-mile length of the border to provide the enemy with unimpeded approach to accessible, lightly patrolled areas along the border. A smuggler's greatest risk of detection, capture, and arrest starts the moment he crosses the border.
Is there a PA on 75 road?
And ends when he and his cargo are finally in a vehicle traveling on improved rural roads or interstate highways. Smuggling cartels are very adept at intelligence, reconnaissance, and surveillance along the border. They know the terrain, the shift schedules of law enforcement agencies, and law enforcement's radio frequencies and access codes. The United States Border Patrol is responsible for maintaining the security of the border against unlawful crossing by persons who are not U.S. citizens. The Sheriff's Departments of San Diego and Imperial Counties, along with the California Highway Patrol, are responsible for policing unlawful activities, including drug smuggling, along the California-Mexico border. Sheriff's deputies and Border Patrol agents assist one another in their tasks. The California Bureau of Narcotics Enforcement and the United States Drug Enforcement Agency perform drug seizure operations along the border, and assist local law enforcement in their drug interdiction effort. The California National Guard Counter-Drug Directorate provides counter-drug support to law enforcement agencies within the border area of operation.
All three of them are running. All three of them are running.
Team Engineer is specifically tasked with developing and installing a road network along the border to enhance the mobility of law enforcement agencies and erecting a vehicle and personnel barrier on the border to provide counter-mobility against the drug smuggling threat. Team Engineer provides law enforcement with mobility, counter-mobility, and general engineering support to enhance drug interdiction capabilities adjacent to the United States-Mexico border in California. To regain control of the border and the adjacent terrain, Team Engineer and rotational units will install a smooth, high-speed, low-maintenance network of roads to and along the border and erect a border barrier to deter the use of vehicles in smuggling operations. The barrier will force smugglers to pack their illegal drugs on foot through rugged, difficult terrain, while the border road network will greatly decrease law enforcement's response time. Team Engineer will design the road and barrier network. Team Engineer will coordinate the plans with agencies such as Bureau of Land Management, the United States Forest Service, and environmental agencies. In addition, they will obtain design approval and permits for construction from the Army Corps of Engineers. Team Engineer will also coordinate for permission to install roads and barriers on any private property and rights-of-way. Team Engineer will coordinate all Class 4 building materials and acquire, rent, or lease construction equipment. Reserve and National Guard engineer units will deploy to the border to install portions of the road and barrier project. Team Engineer will coordinate the assignment of the road and barrier project to the rotational units. The border road network must be surveyed and built first to provide construction access to barrier installation crews. The road network should also be cross-linked to provide all-weather mobility to previously inaccessible border terrain and to provide law enforcement swift access from one section of the border to another.
Next telephone pole, not that one, next one, stop.
Counter-drug intelligence will gather reconnaissance and surveillance information from law enforcement agencies and counter-drug teams and disseminate it to Team Engineer rotational units to enhance force protection. Team Engineer will determine all scheduling of the border barrier construction. Rotational units must be prepared to hit the ground running upon deploying to the Team Engineer area of operation and to fall in on the current phase of the project. Camp Marina is located 4,000 feet above sea level. The terrain is characterized as mountainous high desert. A portion of a deploying unit's personnel may need 1 to 3 days to acclimate to the altitude. The border barrier area of operation is generally hot, with summer daytime temperatures reaching 120 degrees. Deploying units must have and enforce a personal hydration policy to reduce or eliminate instances of heat casualties. Although the border barrier operation has had no injuries due to poisonous bites or stings, the desert is home to poisonous or irritating plants such as poison oak, and poisonous insects and animals such as scorpions, tarantulas, and snakes. Deploying personnel must be trained to recognize and avoid these dangers and to perform first aid for any victims of poisonous stings or bites. California's border with Mexico is a fragile ecosystem. Team Engineer works with the Army Corps of Engineers and the International Boundary and Water Commission to develop construction procedures and practices that will minimize the impact of construction operations on the ecology. Many of the construction permits are only granted with the understanding that these procedures and practices will be followed to the letter, or will be modified only with the approval of the Corps. An example of this consideration for the environment is the modified vehicle barrier in eastern San Diego County. This barrier impedes vehicle traffic while still allowing animal migration and water flow across the California-Mexico border. Team Engineer will arrange for security of construction crews with the U.S. Border Patrol and other law enforcement agencies as appropriate. Rotation units are provided all construction tools and equipment and will only need to bring admin supplies and soldiers' uniforms, OCIE, and personal items. Construction equipment and materials are obtained by Team Engineer and hand-receipted to rotational units who will perform PMCS on all provided equipment and tools. Camp Marina provides a maintenance shop where rotational units mechanics may repair vehicles and equipment. A medevac helicopter and ambulances are maintained at Camp Marina. A medevac crew is on standby during construction operations. No construction operations will be conducted without a medevac ambulance and crew present at the construction site. Camp Marina also maintains 2 medical clinics. Camp Marina maintains billeting for about 200 rotation personnel to include personal hygiene. Some of the billets are in these modular buildings, others are in GP medium tents. These tents are also located at the forward construction operation sites. The Camp Marina Dining Hall provides a rotational unit's mess section with the facilities to feed 200 personnel. Team Engineer also has 2 mobile kitchen trailers. These MKTs provide remote bivouac sites with co-located dining capability. Camp Marina also provides athletic and recreation facilities. Rotation units participating in the project will be able to train to their mission essential task lists involving deployment to the area of operation, staging for construction operations, performing and managing construction tasks, and sustaining the construction mission. The Border Fence and Road Project is a real-world construction project. Welding crews assemble the barrier and panels. Equipment operators use dozers, scrapers, backhoes, and front-end loaders to create roads and barrier foundations. Supply and maintenance personnel keep the project on schedule with timely repairs of equipment and delivery of construction supplies. And leaders, officers, and NCOs gain experience managing a project with a real-world goal. When the rotational unit redeploys to its home station, the roads and barrier its members constructed will remain standing, deterring smugglers' vehicles, forcing smugglers to make long, arduous detours, and speeding law enforcement's detection, location, and capture of smugglers and their cargo. No American, young or old, male or female, black or white, rich or poor, is immune from the effects of drug abuse. It multiplies the incidence of crime, violence, workplace accidents, family misery, and drug-exposed children. Drugs drain the physical, intellectual, spiritual, and moral strength of America. America needs the help of engineer units such as yours. The Border Fence and Road Project is a front in America's battle against drugs. Every mile installed is a small victory against drugs, a victory that will be felt in your hometown. America can't afford to lose.